Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to Adobe Live. I'm your host, Danielle Morimoto, and I'm a senior experience designer here at Adobe. And we are joined with our guest, Liz Wells.
Hi, I'm a senior UX designer at Sting Studios in Brooklyn, New York.
Cool. So today we have a jam-packed agenda. Liz, this is day 2 of Liz's time with us, and she's been designing live in Adobe XD. So she'll be recapping sort of what she did yesterday and running through a bunch of cool new things in XD, some workflows, some pro tips. So stay tuned for that. And let us know where you're tuning in from. I see some familiar names from yesterday already on the stream. Hi, Lucas. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And let's see, what else do we have going on today? We have a chat and win just like yesterday. So make sure that you're being active in the chat. Head over to Behance and join the conversation. You can ask Liz questions around what she's working on, have a say in kind of where the design goes a little bit, and ask your questions and have a chance to win Sticker Mule stickers. So that'll be coming up in a little bit. And yeah, we've had a great stream so far. How are you feeling?
Good. I'll have to admit, I did a little bit of work last night, a little bit of homework, but everything should look the same. And I just got ahead and just did one quick page that we'll see shortly.
Nice. Cool. So yeah, you can go ahead and maybe jump a little bit into maybe like a little bit about yourself just for people who are just joining and didn't join yesterday.
Like I said, I'm a senior UX designer at Sting Studios in Brooklyn, New York. I also co-run Desk Lunch, which is a weekly newsletter for folks of marginalized genders in the creative community. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I've been working on a little website for Desk Lunch. So because it's a real thing, I already have a brand set up. Just a quick overview, the brand colors, the logo that's already made, and then just some assets that I wanted to put up in here and use that as inspiration for how the website would look. Yesterday we created a sitemap, so pretty bare bones because it is a simple site, but we start with a homepage with a hero, image, logo, and a tagline with the sign-up form. We then go into the issues page where we would have the page title, the ability to sort by the name of the author and the issue number, and then ability to filter as well based on themes that we'll talk about later. And then also we'd have issue thumbnails, which would include the issue name, the number, and the author. And then going into the issue detail page, which is like a proper article page where you can go through and read the articles. And then about. So where we left off yesterday, just scooting down here, is we finished up the desktop homepage. This is what it looks like. I swapped out the asset because I did realize I didn't have our proper asset for this, and then just tightened up some of the type up here. And then I did an alt version of the homepage on mobile because I just wanted to see how it would look and how the offset logo would feel on mobile. And then I started to get a little crazy with it, and I started to play with some scrolling. So I wanted to make the nav bar sticky, and I wanted to see how it felt. And then you can't tell on this page, but I went ahead and did the About page, which just has Lorem Ipsum right now. But I wanted to just show an image of Katie. She's my other co-founder. We have the same hair, I know. And then a big statement, and then body copy, and then the footer as well. But I wanted to do something fun with the nav bar since we are keeping it simple. I wanted to add a little bit of difference on it. So when it would go over imagery, it would offset it and it would just kind of create a fun effect. It's also really apparent on mobile. Let's see if I did it here. Yeah. Nice. So I just wanted to play with that and see how that looks. Since this is a text-heavy site, I think that's a fun effect to show hierarchy, but also just to add some little pizzazz to it.
Love it. And we have, a couple familiar names from yesterday, and we just want to shout out. We have Eric and Richard, Edmund, Munir, everybody, hello, and thanks for joining us in the stream. Just a reminder as well, before Liz dives deep into creating more designs today, we do have an XD Daily Creative Challenge going on, so make sure that you check that out. There's more information on it if you go to behance.net/challenge/XD. And today's challenge is around CC libraries, so designing a desktop experience that organizes client contact information. And you can add information next to each client and use CC libraries to drag and drop the logos in. And that file, I believe I have here. Ooh. or here. But when you go ahead and download that file, there's some cool information in here with like the prompt, some inspiration, and showing off a little bit of component states. You can click through on the right-hand side, the component states here, to read the different resources. So the icons and the fonts, photo resources, etc. So make sure that you're sending those on into the Discord channel. And at the end of the stream today, we'll take a look at a couple of your submissions. They can be work in progress, and we'll just be able to give some feedback and you can share it with everybody.
Cool. So let's dive back in. Since we have the About page done and that's pretty text heavy, I'm gonna actually jump to the issue detail page because that's gonna be pretty similar to that. So I'm gonna first give it a nice background color and then pull our nav bar from here. I love just like making the nav and the footer components so you can just kind of swap it in and out and don't have to think much about it. And then if like you have to change the name of items, it just makes it so much easier to just do it once instead of having to do it everywhere else.
Yeah, and I like how you decided to have like a fixed scroll with your top elements. Yeah. They weren't just like going off, and it's really easy to make a fixed scroll element.
So I'm going to take this issue title and just drop it down here so I can work from that. So since we have long titles with Desk Lunch, which is like a good problem to have, I want to have some hierarchy. So instead of just having all of this on one line, I want to show some difference. So I think the issue number isn't as important, but the issue title is the most important, and then the author name. So I want to do something a little bit different with it. Not make it like that.
So I see in the chat, Munir is asking if there are any tips for UX designers that design and code websites. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Any tips? Okay, that's a bit.
Yeah, I don't know, Munir, if you have, let us know in the chat if you have sort of something specific around that you're kind of thinking, because it is pretty broad.
I mean, I just have no, I don't have general advice.
I think if you're interested in designing and coding, I think it can be a superpower to be able to understand like both sides of it, especially, I think other people will appreciate like if you're like doing more design, but you understand the coding side of things, right? Like you can better work with like engineers to build things out or just be designing with that in mind. Or if you're like more on the coding side, vice versa, right? You can understand where the design's coming from or just have a better visual cue on certain aspects.
Just chaos. So yeah, since our art is such a big part of our issues, I just want to make that a big hero moment on the issue pages. And also like, it's beautiful, why not?
You were saying yesterday you're almost at issue, what, 100?
Yeah.
Right?
It comes out maybe this week or next week. Okay. So yeah, no pressure.
Are you doing anything like special for the 100th?
No, we did something special for the 2-year anniversary. Okay. So I think that's all I would want to do. I think, okay. I don't know, it's more about the contributors than us, so I just want yeah. on my guides. Love them. Love a good grit. So yeah, that can be the hero. And then what I can do, so this is the body copy of it. Just put that down here. So what I want to do.
And as you were cropping that image, Tim was asking in the chat, like, how much would you crop artwork like this?
Yeah, so for art issues, it really depends on the asset. I think like it depends on the issue as well of what's the story we want to tell, because I've like really closely cropped some things because I want to tell a certain aspect of it. But it's really just like more of an art direction moment of like, okay, do I want to show the full image, or do I just want to focus on like the pear or how the cloth lays on the table? So for this, I want to just keep it general because there really isn't a big story I want to tell with it. I wanted to tell more of a story with like, just kind of like the quietness of it and kind of how it relates to the story in the article. But it really is, yeah, it's art direction. But also it's like the quality of the image as well. So if you have like a really pixelated image, it's kind of like, well, I guess I gotta make it really small.
Plus I feel like with editorial, like there's some leeway to kind of do a little bit more like overlapping design, like
Right.
a little bit more freeform, so you can like crop things a little bit crazier than you might in other designs that you're doing, or like if you're reusing other people's artwork, sometimes you have to be careful of like how you're
Yes.
re-showing that work.
Yeah, so we use artwork because we are completely non-commercial. We don't make money from this, so we don't feel like we have an issue. Yeah. So this is interesting. I like always like popping it in here like I did yesterday and just kind of seeing how it feels when I scroll. And like maybe there's something I can do over here in this white space, or maybe just keep it as is. First, we already repeat that paragraph, so let's just change that. And then I'm gonna go in and add the author's info.
And you are designing on the 12-column grid. And
Yes.
Question in the chat is sort of, I know you covered it a little bit yesterday, but maybe like talking a little bit more around like your choice of the sizing of your grids and how you use them.
Yeah, so grids really depend on the development ecosystem you're working in. So like certain times, certain clients will have certain grids set up for their workspace because of their design systems and just how their dev system set up. But I just use 12 grid because I think that's the nice basic one, and that's what I like to use personally if I have control over the project. But it really depends on the client. And like I showed yesterday in the UX kit that we came up with at work, we've also created different grids for different projects. So this is for a very like experiential project where things are going to be very full screen. There's going to be UI like along the corners. So we would need to have a grid that fully goes full width. And then also all these different breakpoints of XL, L, medium, small, and then extra small.
Got it all.
Yeah, but then on like a basic project like this, I just would do desktop and then mobile. And I picked a smaller mobile just because I like to do 375, just to like push everything to its limits. Just because if it works for 375, it can work for bigger mobile screens.
Nice. Yeah, there was a comment in the chat about how the choice of artwork makes the whole project very classy. And I'm like, I kind of agree because you have all these paintings right now.
Yeah, we range in like mediums too. It's like this is a piece from Man Ray and it's a photography piece. So like we range, but it's mostly paintings just because I like to pair like classic paintings, especially by women, with like modern qualms about like the industry and like also just like personal identity. I think there's like a weird tension that works out well.
Yeah.
Not weird, but like a
just
unique,
a juxtaposition.
Yeah, exactly. Also, you'll see, because I was working on it last night, cheater. I created some text styles for desktop and mobile just to make my life easier. So this is body copy, just gonna hit that bad boy and then drop it in here. Just so I have desktop page titles, body copy, and pull quotes, and then mobile for the same ones.
Yeah, so that assets panel is really useful. That's basically really easy. When you create a text box, you can create a character style simply by clicking the plus button, and it'll add that to your character style panel. And then just like Liz did, you can, then select any of your text on your artboard, and if you click the character style, it'll change it to, unify it, so you have like maybe your title text that you always use, or your copy content, and so you can really keep track and make sure that you're using like the same styling across the board. And then similarly, you can add your colors in there so that you easily can access that, and we were talking a little bit about it yesterday, but one of the best things also about using the assets panel in that regard is when you start to have a ton of artboards and you have, you've kind of already chosen your fonts and you've chosen your character styles, sometimes, you find out that you need to change a color or a font, but you already have like all this content across your document. You can simply change the color or character style in that assets panel, and it'll change across, everywhere you had it before, it can change across your entire artboard for you. So it's an easy way to make large edits.
Especially this is a small website, so it's easy just to kind of, if I didn't do that and I would manually do it, it's fine. But if you're working on a product with many screens or wires with many screens, no thanks. That's just the amount of hours you'd burn doing that is no thanks.
Yeah. And it's really good for document sharing. Then people can come in and know exactly how they should also be designing against kind of a brand guidelines or something. So we had a question in the chat from Susanna around wondering about the grid. If the artwork was from Cloud, that was one question. And then we also had a question from Richard around, are you going to get this website developed?
I would like to, but life happens, and yeah, maybe. I wanted it to be real one day, but maybe we'll see. We'll see if I can finagle a developer friend into doing it.
And Akin, I know that you and Munir were asking a little bit in the chat about the whole coding and designing side of things, and the question was, you'd like to know about tips to designers while handing your designs to developers. One feature in XD that's really great is in the share, you can share a redlined version, and so basically when you share it out, there's automatically generates all these red lines for you. You can click in and basically see all of the colors that you actually used and all of that is easy to hand off to developers. Let me see if I have a file I can share in a little bit as well to show that off.
So I just made another artboard just because I wanted to try a different layout option, just so I don't mess up my original one and I can just play in this space over here.
Do you always have text ready? Do you ever use lorem ipsum or fake font?
So I use lorem ipsum over here, but I just wanted to especially because this is editorial, I wanted to have a real issue length in here so I could feel how long it would scroll if I just popped it in here. Also just it feels better to see the actual content in here because it just makes it feel a bit more real.
Yeah.
But I do, yes, a lot of projects I'll just put in lorem ipsum, or what I like to do is you'll notice I do it over here, I write what it would be, what the content would be there, and then have lorem ipsum, just so it's clear to people looking at it, oh, this is going to be blank instead of like if someone else looks at the file and I'm not there, they're like, huh, interesting, I don't know what to put there. But it's like, wait, no, this is a description right in it, even though it's also fake Latin.
Yep. Yeah, we have some feedback, people saying, such a good looking site, so refined and classy. Love the logo too.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. I did it like maybe 90 versions of of layout options for how to do it in MailChimp, just because, or like how to do this asset, because like this is the front door of the newsletter and I wanted to make it, stand out and yeah, good.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I love making multiple versions of everything. I'm like kind of neurotic around that just because I feel like if you don't fully explore everything, like it's like you don't know what's possible or like, yeah. It's like when you go to a restaurant and you want to try every little bit of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's how I am towards
That's
design.
how I like to eat a little bit of this,
Yeah. I'll have the tasting menu of this website.
No. Cool. So to get back to that point in the chat, also with Monir and Akin around handing off pieces to development, I have up on my screen that file that I was showing a bit from yesterday, and so I can talk a little bit about handing off. There's this share tab. So right now, Liz has primarily been in the design tab, and she'll get a little bit later a little bit more into prototyping. But when you're done with your design, you go to share. There are a couple options in the share links here. There's different settings, so you can like share for a design review, but there's this setting called development. So if you click on development and then create a link, which I've already done, that link will take you out to the web and you can share this. And what it looks like is, you have the entire click-through prototype here, but there's an icon here which when you click it basically inspects your file for you, and it has all of the assets pulled out and the colors that you use with the exact like hex numbers, the character styles, all that. So this is great for handing off to development because they can look at all the red lines as well, and this is automatically generated, so you don't have to go in and like manually redline everything yourself. You can see like as I'm clicking through, right, that panel is contextually aware, and so it's showing you all the relevant information. So this is a great part of XD when you do share out that you can use to hand off to engineering or talk about with like your team to better understand like all the details and like the pixel pieces. Yeah, Richard, a developer's dream. You're welcome.
I remember I had to redline a website in Photoshop. Like this is years before XD, and it was horrible because it was like, why was the site designed in Photoshop, number one, and also like it was just so clunky because it was such a big site too, and it was like everything was layered. It was wild. I remember spending like a week doing it.
I mean, if you've ever redlined anything manually yourself, you know the appreciation of like automatic redlining. I have definitely redlines and things, and this I definitely is a lifesaver.
It's wild.
Yeah. Cool. And a reminder, we're close to 5 minutes to the chat and win, so head on over to Behance if you're not there already. Ask us some questions around tips in XD, what Liz is working on and designing in, career questions, anything like that.
Okay, so I have two layouts. I don't know which one I like better, because I like them for different reasons.
Are you looking at two different options on your screen?
Yeah, I have this one where it's more simple at the top, and then it goes into the issue, while this one, you kind of get the teaser up here, and then it goes in. But I did forget something, because looking back at my handy dandy sitemap pool, I need to have a next and a previous thumbnail at the bottom. And we were talking about tags. Oh yeah, tags. So this is something that Katie and I came up with, of like, these are the theme tags that kind of, or these are the main themes that appear in a lot of our issues. So Desk Lunch Editors is when we write an issue, and it's usually more of the seasonal ones. And then Snack Edition is when we just have a little update. Snack Edition.
Snack Edition, love it.
Workplace Etiquette's a huge one. Identity, Career, and Empowerment. So, is etiquette spelled right? Wait.
I have not won any spelling bees, so I'm not sure. Oh,
there it
is.
is.
There you go. Okay.
There it is.
It did look slightly off.
Okay.
I mean, no one could see it. We're like, actually, I don't think we're on your screen, so you're good.
Big sign. Yeah,
It
don't
was
look.
a good moment.
Don't
Now
look.
we're perfect
God.
timing to come back to yours. Yeah, I saw a comment in the chat. It is true, like doing red lines though does help you to, like, if you're starting out, to become more aware of like your padding and spacing, and just to be making sure that you're aware of like all of the fonts that you're using, and making sure that you're not using like 25 different like off grays, you know, and you're kind of scaling down. So it can be helpful for sure to go through that manually at the beginning, but it also saves a lot of time to have it done automatically for you.
What am I doing? I don't know. So I'm thinking about how to do tags, because the obvious way is to do a pill, put that bad boy there, and then this is the...
So I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, but Wakas, if you mentioned in the chat that you were having trouble seeing the HTML option when you were sharing your link, make sure that you're selecting the development view setting. So you might just be simply on design review, which will only show like the commenting and the feedback. If you select it, there are a couple different options, and so the development one. Okay, cool, you got it? Sweet. Sienna in the chat's wondering, do you have a certain amount of colors that you would typically limit yourself to?
That's a good question. I don't know, because like as a UX designer, the only really colors I work with are gray. But when it comes to a design project that I'm working on, like in my personal life, I would say like don't go too crazy, maybe like 5 or 6. I don't know. I mean, I built this color scheme out by like kind of doing it in pairs, but also because it's a huge system that needs to work with a lot of different asset types. I have, how many is this? This is a lot. I have a lot because we have 12, because we just have content so often. So I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think you could have too many, but I think it also is all about the context of your project. So
yeah, depending on how big your system is that you're designing for, yeah, you might need more.
And also, like, how often do you use them? Because, like, if I put all 12 on this page, like, that would be bananas. But if you, like, only use it, like, one, like, we do one at a time, then it doesn't feel as jarring.
That's true. Yeah, let us know in the chat if you have a certain amount of colors that you guys typically use, or if you limit yourself or not. I know Sienna said that they like to limit to 5. Otherwise, they want to make rainbows.
I mean, not a bad situation.
Cool. And on that note, we just hit the end of the timer for the Chat and Win countdown. So if you're not already on Behance, head over to the chat and Behance. Get ready to start to be active in the chat for a chance to win 100 free Sticker Mule stickers. So this is Chat and Win. All right, welcome back. So let us know in the chat what your favorite font is, and then we will randomly pick a winner to win 100 free Sticker Mule stickers. Do you have a favorite font? I'll throw the question on you.
Yeah.
Is it the one actually that you mentioned?
I really like
day?
GT America. That's what I'm using here. But I also have Clifton on my website that I really like. It's really weird. Let's see if I can.
It's funky.
Oh yeah, it is funky.
See, we have a couple.
That's
avant-garde.
It's very funky.
We'll have to show that after. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is like, I use this on my website, but I like this font. It's very funky.
Heavy serifs, yeah.
Like I want to feel like a cowboy a little bit. Yeah, that's like the Western vibe I'm going.
Got you a cowboy hat for
today.
Oh, okay. Congratulations to Akas. You've definitely won today's chat and win. So you'll get 100 free Sticker Mule stickers, which is great. And we have a lot of people coming in with Futura, SF Pro Text, Dito. We have like a lot of different fonts in here. But don't be too sad if you did not win today's chat and win. You can still check out the code above, /Adobe Live 20, and you can get, I believe it's 10 stickers for $1, so there's still a great deal. And we were talking yesterday about all the stickers we have on our computers.
We have a lot of stickers.
But yeah, someone will message you directly and let you know how you can get your prize. So congratulations.
Okay.
It is a very cowboy font, though.
It is like, I don't know, but what I like about it is the italic looks totally different, almost. Like it has like a big energy that, this is what I actually use on my site. I don't use the regular one because I just like how, I don't know, there's just like something very nice about it. I love all the curves, and then it looks so different when it's in regular. This is Font Talk with Liz and Danielle.
It is very different. Yeah, no, I was like mesmerized at looking at the font. It does look super different in the italic. It has almost more of like a script kind of because of the way that, you know, it is more curvy. It almost looked like cursive from, like, I don't have my glasses on, so that was a struggle. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Like that V is like wild in a good way. A good wild.
Richard said, your website is totally awesome, Liz.
Thank you. It's a labor of love.
Aren't they all? Yeah.
All right. I got a tag. I don't know how I feel about it. Ain't that all design?
Yeah, so for those of you who are just joining, Liz is joining us in designing live in Adobe XD right now, working on creating, she has a newsletter and looking at how to make it more of a website in this regard. So she's working on that. We have later on I can really speak today, I'm losing my words. A daily creative challenge in Adobe XD. So we have that coming up later. So make sure that you're working on today's, CC Libraries challenge and submitting that through Discord, and then we can provide you some feedback on that later on.
So I'm gonna phone a friend, but by that I mean.
I'm like, what do you mean? I do love a good game show.
No.
Are you on a game show now?
I just want to look at some references. Outdoor voices. What's there? Just wanting to pull. Like references of how they do tagging, and if they even do it.
Oh right, I think you took a screenshot yesterday. Yeah. Yeah, Monir mentioned that they usually use 5 colors, like primary, secondary, tertiary, dark gray, and light gray. Yeah, I think a lot of people also like in colors, like there's, your dark gray or, off, black or whatever, your whites that you might use, but then also like thinking through like what you have as like your call to action kind of color or something like that, and the bases that you want to have going off of it. I think starting like minimal is pretty nice, and then if you find that the system needs to expand, you can add more colors, but like Liz was saying, like kind of depends on how big of a project you have and what makes sense.
interesting. Okay, I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
There we go. That's all we're looking for.
This is like my internal monologue at work. It's just like, well, as long as I don't hate it, here we are.
What's your, when you typically, so obviously right now you're talking out loud because we
Right.
have people
Watching.
there watching. You're all watching, and listening. But when you're at your desk setup, do you listen to music? Do you watch TV? Do you not need no distractions? Podcasts?
It really depends on like what I'm doing. Obviously. But like whenever I'm writing, like if you're doing like annotations or writing a deck or something, I can't listen to anything or else I'll just I really struggle with writing, so I would just like I go off the rails and I'm like doing a like writing what I'm hearing. But if I'm designing, it really depends like where I am in my flow, because if it's like early on, it might just be music, but if I'm more like kind of already know the system I'm building and kind of have a pattern going, I might listen. I listen to a lot of podcasts or like throw on a YouTube video that you can kind of zone in and out of, and you know.
Yeah, I go back to like my same TV shows that I always watch or something like The Office. I just put that on the background because if it's something new, I can't consume it at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I can mention for color also Adobe Cooler, Adobe Color, which you can go in and find different color themes. And there's a lot of other sites. Let us know in the chat what other ways you guys discover color or find color themes and patterns that you use in your designs.
I remember Cooler. Or wait, Adobe Color now? No, it's
Yeah.
I remember when it was
is
Cooler.
Adobe Color.
Oh
I remember when
my
it was Cooler
God.
too. Yeah. Yeah, Adobe Color has like a color wheel that I have up now that basically, you can pick from like triad colors or complementary colors, and there's also like ways that you can explore, like look at trends and things like that.
Oh,
yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, I remember using Cooler in college a lot when I was a baby designer.
Oh yeah?
Just a baby. Yeah.
Good old baby days.
When color, like before you like fully understood how to like work with color, like now I feel like I don't know, you're less like pulling it out of your butt and more like, oh, I actually have like a philosophy around it. But in college you're like, the colors, what are these? Gestalt principles.
Like, why I picked these colors?
Yeah, well, funny you should ask. My mother told me. No. Oh man. Boo-doo-boo, boo-doo-boo, boo-boo. All right. I kind of want to, you know what? That's busy. No, let's get out of here. I'm going to put it down here. There we go. Is that interesting? Is there something happening? I kind of like that. It makes this feel like a unit.
Nice.
Let me go into this. Is there a way in prototyping here to make something sticky besides the header stay sticky when you scroll?
Yeah, I think anything that you select, so if you like select that button, say you wanted it to stay, then on the right-hand side panel, you have the option of the checkbox of fixed position when scrolling. So you can select that on any object, and that way when you do the scroll, that should now stay put.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool. Okay, that's fun. I did that yesterday to make that. For me, in my mind, I was like, just because it says nav means like you can't.
I think it's like the most common thing.
Yeah.
I think for sure, like it's pretty common. I think that people will want their header sometimes to stay put, so they'll fix it. But yeah, there's definitely other elements. Sometimes there's like you'll have like a button when you're shopping, and there's a really long scroll. There's like the arrow at the bottom that you want to click to like send you all the way back up to the top that you'll see in designs or fixed scrolling. So it's a good feature.
I kind of like the issue number coming with you as you traverse the art.
Yeah.
But then I want to make it small. A little small guy. Boo-da-boo. Interesting. Okay. It's like crazy how much this is a really silly statement, but it's just, it's crazy how different a site feels when it's, when you're scrolling through it versus when you're just seeing it all laid out. And it just helps so much to like, I don't know, it feels so much better to like actually scroll through it instead of just seeing it like a printed page, and you can actually feel how a user would go through it.
Totally. I think that's one of the beauties. Like, I don't do much coding. I don't do like any coding. I know a little bit of HTML, CSS, but I think the nice thing is you can go into prototyping mode in Adobe XD, and you don't need to know any code to hook things up, or like in this case to have like a fixed scroll to really start to see your designs come to life, or be able to talk through like how they're actually, like the interactions are going to be, or like when you click this button it goes to this page and like you actually can do the click through. You don't have to know any code to do that. And so Liz will, talk a little bit about prototyping and the prototyping tab later once she gets through the design. So you'll be able to see how to connect all of your, little widgets from like a button to the next page and be able to click through and preview it.
Okay. I'll make you smaller. That's too small. It's too small. No, maybe not. Maybe not. I am very zoomed out. Okay. I think I'm gonna go with this one because I really like how the tags feel, and this just kind of gets a little nutty, so this is the option I like. Just smidge that up a little bit. Cool. So I feel good about this. Sorry, you've been voted off the island. Bye. Yeah, so even if I don't end up doing something, I still like to just keep it in the file just in case like later on, like you ended up like showing that version to the client or something. It's just nice to like have it there, and like, cause there's been so many times where I thought that I would just delete something because it didn't actually get used, and then I would have to remake it later because I was like, cause someone changed their mind or something happened. So it's like, just always version everything and like keep things around, cause you never know.
Yeah, it is also a good backup I've found for like when you do show designs, then sometimes people, well, did you consider this? And I'm like, well, actually I did, and it didn't look, and I can go back and refer to it if I really need. So yeah, I agree. Sometimes it's good not to fully delete everything.
It's so tempting though.
Unless it's really bad, it's like, I don't know.
All right, let's scoot on over. Oh wow, this is gonna be a long mobile. Oh God, okay, let's clear some stuff out. Oh man. In other news, I met a dog named Nacho last night.
Oh, sorry. I got really excited for a second. I know a dog named Taco that I follow on Instagram,
shit.
so I got really excited that you met this dog that I follow on
No,
Instagram. Which I don't know why
this was just a normie dog. This was not a famous dog.
Okay.
This was a normie dog.
Nacho? Sorry.
Nacho.
All I can think about is food, because your thing is called Desk Lunch. It's kind of around this time. You said nutty earlier. Someone said they like the font cereal. Like, all I'm thinking about is food. Wait, so what kind of dog was it?
He looked like a shepherd mix.
Okay.
Like he could, go to work or something. I don't know.
It's quite the dog description.
You know how some dogs just look like they could be, working in an office and
Playing poker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being
I
in
know
a
where
Bud
you're
Light
coming
ad.
Not Taco. Not my dog that I follow. Little golden doodle. So cute. Lives in San Diego. I don't know why. I really shouldn't admit to these things.
San Diego.
Yeah.
I know where I was going with that. Okie dokie. So, because I have these styles set up, let's make it mobile. That's too big, obviously.
Ha, clever in this stream. He was definitely a blue collar dog.
Oh,
That's funny.
that's really good. I like that a lot.
Much wittier than I am on the spot.
Yeah, God, no. All right, see if this feels right, because I'm just throwing stuff at the wall right now. Oh, I don't want this to be sticky on mobile because that's just too chunky for mobile. Maybe this should.
So you mentioned this yesterday, but you do like to preview quite a bit, like, you know, and see, I feel like, and scroll, and I feel like, what are you looking for when you're doing that?
Yeah, I think like it just helps me get a sense of like how it feels to move through the design, because just scrolling at it like this doesn't do it justice, because you're seeing it in full entirety, but also a way to like not see it with the grid, because it's, even though the grid is obviously very helpful, it's just nice to see it like how a user would and just kind of get that sense really quickly. It also just scrolling through, I just like, I don't know, it makes it feel more real, and it kind of validates what you're thinking and if you're actually thinking like the right stuff.
Yeah, and I think like you were saying yesterday too, like you're constantly zooming in and out, so like getting again like a perspective of like, this is generally maybe the size of the font. How does it feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since this like is like a browser size almost, pretty much on my laptop, like it just kind of gives me the sense of like how it would act. I do, if I am working on mobile like more intensely, I'll like hook it up and do like the mobile screen share and like scroll through it on my phone, but doing it on desktop is fine too, because you can still get a sense of things. But it's really just important to see like what kind of fits where and how long it actually is, because like sometimes like mobile can get real long real fast if you don't catch it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just realized something. Ugh, so how we do author names on the assets, we do it in OGG, not in GT America. So I need to change that. Oh my God. Big day.
Good catch.
Classed it up. Oh my God. I was like, why does this feel so clunky?
It's a nice contrast. I feel like they were so close before, but not quite.
It was too competing.
Yeah.
This feels better. Alrighty. Let's add a JPEG in here.
Nice.
And then I was in InDesign a few months ago for the first time in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot how nice it is to be able to just link text documents in there. And it was just like a moment I was like, whoa, like I wish I could do this for like copy for sites and stuff. Like to hook up a like content matrix or a copy matrix and like have it like merge together. Cause like, I don't know, it's just nice where a copywriter can be working on one thing and I can be working on the other, and it nicely merges. Full quote. I don't know, it's just a blast from the past. And how
you haven't been in Illustrator, in InDesign in a while?
Not really. I took a writing class last fall, and we made like a book to like celebrate and like publish our work, and we had to design our layout in InDesign, and I was like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this. Like, oh, it's been so long. But then I was like, wait, I got it. But,
it comes back to you.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah. It's like, because like Adobe products are like, they have different goals, but they're similar in a way. So like, even if things aren't quite the same, there's still enough to like
piece together little bits. Yeah. What app do you use the most, would you say? And then, like, is XD the one that you feel like you're designing in the most, or what are you primarily in?
I mean, it really depends on the client, because, like, we get whatever they work in. So, like, they could be using, like, Figma or Sketch or XD. Like, it's like the world is a client's oyster.
There you go. Yep.
So, it's like, so you have to kind of be nimble between all of them, which is, I mean, it's fine. Like, they all have like different things and different pros and cons. But yeah, I feel like, but as for like my job as a UX designer, like I'm staying in like the XD universe of creation. For personal stuff, I might jump over to like Photoshop, Lightroom, or Illustrator, but like
No.
That's for like at home. That's
like
for
more like
after hours.
hobby type things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into InDesign, or not InDesign, Lightroom, but I just am really bad with like importing photos.
So, I mean, yeah, I feel like I use XD probably primarily, but then it's probably Photoshop after that at this point. I used to love Illustrator probably the most, but now I just find that the work that I'm doing, I'm constantly in XD.
Actually, let's do this. In college, I was a lot in Photoshop and Illustrator, but that was before like any of this came out. So I remember like designing websites in Illustrator, and I was just like, woo, like not cute at all, because everything was just so flat and vector. I mean, also that was the time as well, was like everything was so flat, and like skeuomorphism was like still lingering, but everyone was like getting to that crazy flat stage. So it was like, oh, like just everything's a vector.
Yeah, and I mean, for those of you in the chat, they're kind of talking about, like, we're obviously talking about the differences between different products right now, and if there are features that you find that you're wanting in Adobe XD, but they're not there yet, we do have the Adobe XD user voice or adobeXD.uservoice.com, which is a place that you can go to request different request features and bugs. And so you'll see there's actually, let's head over to the feature requests. In feature requests, everybody is like posting the different features that they would like, and you can vote on and kind of uptick the ones that you want, and you'll see the status that the team has. So like this feature, you know, people want animated GIFs, it's actually being worked on right now. So you can also be part of the process of like letting us know like how we should be building out XD, and you probably see some of the features that you want, like other people are asking for them as well. So it's a good place to go to figure out, you know, and have a little say in like adding new features to the product. And you can just see like some of them are under review, some are just like in the backlog because it takes time to build it out. But it's a good place to go. There's definitely like a ton of features that could still be built out in the product and that they're working on right now. I hear you typing away, but I don't see it.
Oh, I'm over here in the character
okay.
status.
I was like, there's nothing happening.
Just writing my diary.
Yeah.
Cool. So I made 2 versions of the mobile just because I didn't know how big I wanted the image to be. I don't like how issues and issue are kind of like butting heads right here. That's interesting. And then I forgot the tags. Oops. Oops.
So Peter in the chat was asking, is there a way to replace a master component? If you go to your components in the assets panel, if you right click on the component, one of the options is edit master component. So you can,
Whoa.
yeah, so you can go ahead and click on edit master component and then do your edits there, and it should go ahead and go back to your entire thing. I just keep hearing whoa.
Because it just magically morphs me to where it is. And it's kind of scary.
Are you okay over there?
Oh, man. Artboard adventures. Okay.
I feel like that should definitely be a thing. Artboard adventures. Classic.
I feel like, remember how in maybe Photoshop there's like the navigation view or like window you can add? Mm-hmm. I use that so much because I feel like I'm like, help, like get me out of here. Also in Illustrator too, just because like sometimes you can get really lost in the sauce. Like it's just, yeah, there's a lot There's a lot going on sometimes. Let's make this a small guy, even smaller guy, the smallest guy.
So you're looking at buttons right now. Do you have what are your thoughts on like rounded pill shape buttons versus like, like rectangular buttons? Do you have like one that you lean towards or times that you use them or not?
I don't really discriminate. I think it like just depends on like what else is out there, like, or what the system is. Like, I think we have a lot of sharp angles, like with how we treat images, and like this is a sharp typeface. I mean, both these are like kind of sharp typefaces, so I want to do something a bit more soft to like counteract that. I think if they were, oh my God, if they were if they were square, there we go. If they were square, it just kind of wouldn't feel right. I don't know. Maybe it does, and I don't see it. But like, I mean, we can try it. But I don't know. I think I just want something that doesn't feel too buttony, and feels more just like a tag, a way to group things, and less like a active thing to add in. Because we do have how we treat the sign up CTA as a big rectangle, and I just want it to feel not a little different from that.
Oh.
But maybe it might work. I like make this a small guy.
Yeah, and for those of you who, don't know on the buttons themselves or on like rectangles, Liz was just manipulating it directly on the shape itself. There's also on the right-hand panel, you have those two different buttons there, which you can basically call out each side of the rectangle. So you can have, maybe like the top two be, if you want them to be straight, and the bottom to be rounded. A lot of times like with card UI, sometimes that comes into play. So you can control every single corner of your rectangle.
Okay, let's wiggle these guys up. That's chaos. No. No. You can't do that. Not here. Yeah, so that's my design process, is just calling things chaos and hoping for the best. No. It's just a lot of trial and error, but ain't that how it is.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of iteration.
Yeah. This image is just too dang big. Who do I think I am? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's chill. All right, let's wiggle that up. I definitely like the bigger image on mobile.
You're trying to decide right now how big to make the image?
Yeah, or like between these two versions.
Maybe that's something we can ask in the chat. Between the two versions, so between the Artboard 4, which is this one, and Artboard 7, the one next to it, with the smaller image, which one do you prefer? Large image or small?
Is there a way to have two preview windows up?
There aren't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you want it, request it. No. Are you thinking like for like
upvote.
Versioning type of thing?
Yeah, or just having two options up.
So we're starting to get in the chat some responses. I think there's quite a few for everyone's kind of coming in with the large image.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, just throw this into the pits of hell. Just kidding. We're going to keep the artboard because we don't delete anything.
Just say the pits of hell.
Yeah. What if it's like
there's a kind of mumbled under your breath? I was like,
what if it's like just a corner of your artboard and it's just like, heck.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just like, if I came into someone's file and like, oh, okay, it's named a little nicer than what I thought that was going to be.
That's where we put bad artboards is over there. The artboard police came to town and you're under arrest.
Prison is over on the, on the other side.
Let's move it over to heck.
Sad.
Bye.
Later.
Bye. You know, you just gotta have fun in your file. That's what I like to say.
Gotta leave surprises sometimes. I know, like, there was some designers, I got into a file recently in XD and there was a couple different card choices. So there was like card A and card B, card C, whatever. And card B was called Cardi B instead. Yeah, and I was like, okay. It did make me smile.
Oh my gosh. She's a great Twitter follow.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I love
Do
how
you follow her?
Yeah, no. I mean, she's like chaos, but like in a like chaotic good way. But she's like getting into politics now, and it's like kind of amazing because she just like comes in hot with all these ideas, and everyone's like, yeah, oh, okay. It's like, okay, sure. Alrighty. Is there a way to globally change how all layouts look?
Layouts and
like the grid?
I mean, if you have your grid as a component, right? I mean, how do you have your in the columns there in the layout? That's a good question.
Oh, maybe make default. Use default. No, just size. It's not color. Interesting.
I'm not sure. Yeah, color's a good question to look at that.
I like to make it red. I don't know. It's just softer on the eyes. I do love this cyan, but
it's pretty vibrant.
Yeah.
But sometimes I actually have been forgetting sometimes that it's not part of your actual design, the pink, because it does go with like the color theme a little bit with like the photo.
Yeah.
And then you go to preview it, and I'm like, oh, it's all
like,
white.
Like really brutalist. All right, so let's just start to bring.
Yeah, I mean the one thing like Tim says in the chat, you can select multiple artboards.
Oh, okay.
But that's you can't just like select and then have it do.
Got it.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim.
So I can just do this. Sorry, I was distracted by the German in the chat. All right, so now we're making another issue detail page, but it's an image-based issue. So it's gonna be a little bit different because we're using this comic. But let's bring the art. Oops, I'm gonna copy and paste it. So I'm gonna be really basic about it and just kind of trace over it. Not trace over it, just use that as the guide.
So in the chat, we had a question about, like, we were talking a little bit about your header and how it's in the fixed position when you scroll. And the question was, do you think leaving the header in a fixed position with no background could somehow be a problem as it gets lost in parts of design?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's also partially why I have the effect on it. Let's see.
Yeah, the effect's cool.
Yeah, I have the effect on it, so it does kind of appear different and it doesn't look like an issue, I just read the word. It doesn't look like it's a part of the copy, but I think it's also, you gotta be careful with it because that's why I left issue 95 sticky because I know there's nothing gonna be in the white space over here, so you don't need to worry about it conflicting. But if I had a lot more nav items, let's say I had like 8 nav items, hypothetically, I wouldn't do that because then it would start to conflict with the main body copy over here.
Whoa.
Since we're,
jumping.
yeah, this is like an OS bug that's been around for years, and I like am kind of obsessed with. Like I used to be mad at it, and now I'm like kind of obsessed with it.
Oh yeah. Okay. There we go.
But since it only kind of cuts in maybe like 2 columns in, I don't view it as a huge like hindrance. But if it was, let's say we had nav items across the whole bar, then that would be a problem. Then you would want a background.
It's definitely a stylistic choice. I think it's a really good call out because we've been talking about like legibility and all of that. But I think with especially like I like on the desk lunch how you have like it's definitely a stylistic choice,
Yes.
right? But at least having that filter on there is nice when having a little bit of a difference when it does overlap.
Like if I had a lot of text on the left side and the logo would like continually would cover over it, that's when that would become an issue. But I don't on the issue pages, so that's why I don't feel like it's a huge issue.
Yeah, thanks for sending that question. It's a good one.
It's nice to work with a non-chunky nav. Just because like chunky navs can get away from you, you know? Oops. What do I want? Layers. Alrighty. This is issue number 14. Wow. So long ago. So young. So naive. Just 2 years ago.
Getting nostalgic already. Yeah. I'm like, whoa.
Such a simpler time. No. Where am I looking? What am I looking for? Oh, I know what I'm looking for. I want these bad boys. Bring them over here. Then I want that. We're gonna lorem ipsum this because I don't have the text on hand that would go with it. And then let's get in some of the titles and the logistical stuff.
So Sienna, I see in the chat asking you realize it's stylistic, but still wondering a bit in like terms of accessibility. Other things, if you are curious more about, making sure that your designs are accessible, there are XD plugins, and there are I know some plugins around accessibility specifically, so you can kind of see if your designs how they would look in for people with different color blindness or things like that. There's also accessibility for looking at things there's language pieces as well. So if you need to see how something's gonna look, in Japanese, is your text gonna be much longer or shorter? There's a lot of different types of plugins, so I would also explore some of those.
Does XD work with Stark?
Good question.
I know it's a pretty multi-platform extension, maybe. So what I'm doing is I'm just dragging in the comic by Jinjin Sun, who is an amazing UX designer in New York. And I believe she does a lot of amazing illustrations in her free time. She does this series on Twitter called 100 Days of Jinjin, where she'll take a famous like classical painting and repaint it, but with her.
That's awesome.
And it's like amazing because she's been doing it on Twitter for so long. You see from the beginning, like she's, you know, starting, and then she's like gets so much better by the end, and it's just like, oh my gosh.
I think it's cool too to start to get some of the like different types of artwork in, and like I think it gives it a lot of flavor, because in this case too, and like when you're designing, if you have a lot of imagery that you think is going to be like pretty key, I think sometimes keeping you know, a pretty negative like area of negative space around it, or just using like letting the artwork speak for itself, like not having too many colors or distractions around it, can be something to make sure that you consider. So in this case, it's like your design is, you know, pretty, you have like white space around it, so it really lets like the artwork speak for itself, and that kind of visually leads your eye in that direction. You heard you say this illustration?
Yeah, her name is, let me just actually.
I know that people are wondering in the chat where they could find it.
Her name's Jinjin Sun. Oh, she's currently senior UX experience designer at Adobe. I did not plan this.
Which team? I thought you mentioned something about that yesterday. She's in New York, right?
Yes.
New York. Yeah.
This is her 100 Days of Jinjin series that I was mentioning, where she paints herself as famous paintings. Anyway, she's a total sweetheart. Totally recommend to follow her on Twitter or Instagram. Her artwork is phenomenal and never ceases to amaze me.
That's a really fun series.
Right? Like, that's such a cool idea. Like, yeah, I would look like that too if I was holding a chalice that was on fire. Like, yeah, of course. But amazing. But yes, this is her site. And I believe she has the comic on here as well. And she uses Adobe Fresco a lot for her illustrations.
Yeah.
Which I've never tried because it intimidates me.
Do you have an iPad or like a
I
tablet?
do, but it's like mad busted. Like my boyfriend was using it and he pressed the home screen button too hard and it shattered.
The button shattered?
The whole screen shattered.
Oh.
So we're gonna figure
Makes
that
it a
one
little
out.
harder to
it's
with.
like
Okay.
it's a little bit like dangerous to use.
Yeah, like chipped like little edges there. Yeah.
But the last time I really used it was in college for like portfolio reviews. Like during like career days at my school, like when professionals would come in and you would be like, this is my work, like please hire me.
Yeah.
But I haven't really used it since because I don't go to career days at colleges anymore, thankfully.
Yeah, and for reference, Fresco is Adobe Fresco, which is our latest like painting and drawing application on the tablet. So it's pretty cool. You'll have to check it out. It's just coming out recently.
Okay.
Yeah, it just came out. We announced it at Max last year.
Okay. What? Nice. Let's get that footer in.
And just a reminder, we're about 15 minutes to reviewing and getting design feedback on the daily creative challenges. So if you're working on one of those, start to think about sending those through in Discord so that we can take a look and provide feedback on them.
Cool, so I feel pretty good with this one since it is a template, which makes my life easier. I'm like, this issue is like 14, we're almost at 100, but it still just gets me every time because it's just so good. Because like, yeah, sometimes you do cry at work. And when we put it in MailChimp, it like crunched it up, where like it made it feel like a bunch of different images, and it's nice to see it in one long scroll, you know, like it just feels more like a comic than like a bunch of just JPEGs in your email. Let's go over to mobile land. Oops. Wait, what did I just... Oh, this is... Wait.
You can drag out guidelines from the side of your artboard.
Oh. Oh, okay. It's artboard based, not like canvas based. Like I can't do a canvas.
No, not off your canvas. Yeah, it's artboard from the side of your artboard.
Okay. Interesting.
You know, even when you're like, wait, what did I just do?
Yeah, I was like, what
How
did
did
I
this just
find?
happen?
That's always stressful. I feel like canvas guides are like very chaotic because they're just like out there. Do that. And then let's get that there. Cool. Cool. Let's... So this is going to be interesting because I want people to be able to read it, but it is small.
You're worried about how small it is?
Yeah. So I'm thinking... Okay, let me see something. Because I'm thinking if I should do it full bleed, if that helps.
I think it's hard to tell. I think, and again, like this is probably one of those times I feel like that I would like plug in my phone with the XD app and look at it on an actual phone because like it's still hard to tell how small some of that will be or not.
Yeah, that's way too small. That's a crime.
Yeah, I definitely think the full bleed probably makes more sense.
Like how the preview updates live. That's so helpful. At work, I have like another monitor, so it's nice just to like see it like populate live and then work. Because but like with this one screen, it's harder to do it all.
So after this, you'll have 2 different issue pages, and what was it, like the
yeah, I finished the about page because it's a pretty basic page. So then it's just the issues page, and I have a few fun ideas for that. So, yeah, so I think that's going to take the most time instead of just like copy and pasting images here.
Nice. And it might also be cool, I think, at some point, maybe either before or after issues, depending on how you feel about time, like heading over to prototyping mode and maybe trying to see how you might want to connect these a little bit.
Actually, I might, I'm going to have to do the issue page. I'm going to have to put something on the issue page to actually make it all work. I was like, well, we can just like jump straight. And I was like, nope, because then how do you get to these pages? Okay. And then that was that one, this one. mobile, author, body copy. Boop. Okay. And then snag the footer, drop it over here. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Let's talk about this issues page. So I've been saving this one for last. I think this could be the most interesting. I think it like lends itself to an interesting design. So just to kind of go back on what what the content of the page will be, is the page title, sort by, so by name and issue number, filter, and by the tags that I have over here. And then just the thumbnail. So thumbnails including the issue number, the title, and the author name. And then maybe the image from it, or maybe the color that we are, that's used in the issue. Since something that is a benefit to our design system is the variety of colors. So kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier is like, because we have such a variety of colors, like we can pull from that and use that as a design element on the site. So, yeah, let's dive in.
Nice. And we had a question in the chat around, do you always design a page, then design its mobile view? So I guess, do you design web and then mobile always, or?
I think it depends on like the deliverable situation. Like if we have a client check-in and the first meeting's about desktop, then I'll obviously only do desktop for that. But I like to do them in tandem just because if there's something that doesn't work for mobile and I already designed it for desktop, I can quickly go back and make those changes and figure out the issue, instead of already doing all of desktop and then going to mobile and being like, oh crap, like this design thing that we did, or this thing that we did, this interaction doesn't work across mobile. We have to completely rethink this. So it's kind of validating as you're working, which I think is really helpful. But yeah, I think it's important to like, because you're in this mindset of this page and just start to think small earlier than going back and struggling with it.
Yeah, let us know in the chat if you have, do you always design web first? Do you design mobile first? What are your thoughts on that? Share it with everybody in the chat. I'm curious.
Yeah, because everyone has their own way of going about it. I mean, There's no wrong way. It's just like how your workflow, I don't know, how it fits. So we're talking about going back to reference zone. So this is the reference I pulled from Great Discontent. I really like how they did their filter and sort. I thought this was really nice, where it's just a button system between sorting published date and name/title, and then a drop down for the tags. So I want to kind of pull something from that, but just in our style, obviously. So I first want to do a filter. Maybe I'll keep it the same size, maybe not. And then do a drop down. How do I want to do that? I don't know. I'll get back to this. I don't know how I want to do a filter. Like, I don't know if I want to do how I want to do the drop down. So I'm going to do sort by, because that will be easier. I'm screwing my future self over. Don't mind me.
You'll look back at this and be like, darn it.
Yeah, exactly. This is too big. Make it smaller. Okay. still too big. When I was working on this last night, because I was alone in my hotel room, I was like, wow, it's so nice not to have to narrate what I'm doing.
It is a different part of your brain to be doing, like, talking out loud through everything, yeah.
Also, I was listening to a podcast, and I was like, I can finally catch up. I don't like this. Do I like this? I don't want it to look too much like a button. So we're gonna bold this bad boy. We're gonna, that's too bold. No, we're not doing that. I don't know if I like this, but okay. We'll sit on it. We'll think on it.
Sometimes it's good just to come back to it later on.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's think about this filter system. How do I want to do it? I want it to be a drop down. That's not. I want to get a little triangle action happening here. First time I've used that tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
watch out.
What are you getting into? End of day, just going wild.
You know what? I'm just like going like really into shapes right now. And
like just taking a turn. Oh, okay. I see where it's going now.
Yeah.
I was definitely curious what was happening.
Yeah, no, it's not as exciting as you thought. I know. I feel the same way.
It's all right.
Oh man, we all can't make crazy websites. This is whack. Let's put these two together.
Don't forget though when we're at the just under the 2-minute mark for heading over and looking at some of the design pieces that you've sent over from the creative challenge for today. We'll be taking a look at those in a minute. So if you are working on one, send that through so that we can give you some feedback.
1 minute. It reminds me of like when you're in college and you need to like upload your homework by a certain time and you really push it close.
Have you ever experienced that? Is that coming from? No. Yeah, I didn't think so.
Not at all. Who would?
Not coming from experience?
No.
Yeah.
But that's when always like the system would go down, and it's like, oh
no. It was because everyone was doing it at the
yes,
same
exactly.
time, so it like crashed right at the same time.
And it's like, whoever developed this should have like known that like students are gonna do that, right? Like, all right. So something I sketched out yesterday was doing these bars, these bars for the thumbnails. 'Cause I think there's something interesting with using colors as like a stripe, or like as using colors as a way into the issue. So let's make this 150. It's maybe a little too chunky, so let's do 125. I don't know why I just made 2. I just got excited about it. But oops. I'm going to start to lay out how one thumbnail could look. So I want to reference how we treat issue names from here. Oh my god, I keep doing that. So I like how the word issue is in OGG while the number is in GT America. So I'm gonna just drop this bad boy in here, make it black so I can actually see it, and maybe just like quickly jump over here and change it. Don't mind me. And then because of their different sizes, gonna bump this up
Nice. And as you're doing that, I'm going to start to transition us into the design feedback because we are at that time. So I'm going to head over to Discord and see what you have all sent in. So we'll take a look and give some feedback. All right, so we have, I know that some of you are still working on the challenge from today. So we're going to take a look at, I think, some of the submissions for previous days. And what we're looking at right now are the daily creative challenges in XD. So there might not be some quite yet if you haven't finished the CC Libraries one. So I know we might be looking at some of the other challenges. Okay. So we have Brendan that sent in a challenge. So I'm going to click to launch an interactive prototype. Okay. I think it's here, right? Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I can click on, so I guess all I did was hover over it, and then this popped up. And then showed me, I guess, amount of time remaining. And I clicked on it. I guess, that was like clicking on settings, I think of it. So you can have notifications, adjusting, setting the timer for it.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice little transition over to account, like that. And it's hooked up so you can go back and forth,
cool.
Which is good. And then kind of closing out.
Nice.
Very nice. Yeah, I think the only feedback, or like one of the main pieces of feedback I have, is I definitely wasn't entirely sure what to click on your interactive prototype. So I got lucky. I hovered over the eye, I feel like. So I would almost say in your description, like on your Behance page, it would be helpful to maybe have a little hint or let me know that like that's what I should be looking for when I go into your prototype. Just because otherwise I might think it's broken, like kind of clicking around if I don't actually hit where it is. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think just when you're in that settings view, a way to go back to the previous view, just because you had to click X to close it all out, and then you'd have to reopen it to actually see the timer that was there.
Yeah, but I agree, like the little transition of it sliding over is really nice. And then closing out. Awesome. I don't know if the second one has something different in it. We can check it out. I think it's the same.
Oh, yeah.
Same piece here, yeah. Cool. All right, awesome. Thank you for sending that in. Let's take a look at another one in Discord here. We have, let's see, one from a previous day as well around co-working, I think, which was from up here. All right, so Alina sent one in, Adobe XD Creative Challenge. I like how you've like set the prompts so we kind of know the context of what your portfolio work is here.
Nice.
Colors and typography. Nice. Finding a co-working space you love. Oh, nice. So it's actually animating in here. I think that's a really nice detail. So I don't have to go in and like click on it as well. I can just have that previewing. I think also just like the way you've displayed it on your portfolio is really nice. Kind of like introducing the context of what it is, having like these little moments of like pulling out, little descriptors of like what I'm kind of going to be noticing on the different types of screens that you have. And then just like some key screens as well.
Yeah, I like when you have the reserve time overlay. I like the blurring of the background just so it shows hierarchy, and also that just gives some depth to the product.
Totally. See me. Well, let's play the video. I think this looks really good. I think the only other thing I would say is like some of the spacing of like your text to where it hits the edges of some of the content. Let me go back to like and pause here. Like it's kind of close up at the top, but you have a little bit more space at the bottom here. So kind of finding consistency with how you do some of that spacing just so it breathes. And same thing, these pieces are pretty small. I wonder if you make them larger, like if they need to be stylistically that small and at the top of the button. But I like you have, obviously you chose like a color theme and like a color palette that you've used nicely throughout. Looks good.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this one?
I think just adding for the nav at the bottom, just saying what each item is, just because if it is a new user, they might not know what each thing is, and maybe showing an onboarding flow could always be fun and just kind of show some UX chops there.
Yeah, but I can see why it was hard to finish in one day. You said like, I think I worked on this, like it was from 3 days ago, but you have like a lot of screens in here and a lot of different aspects, even like coming through, which I like, where it's like you have the congratulations for booking, so you've gone all the way kind of through that flow, which is really nice to like think pretty broadly about it. So it looks really good. Well, thank you for sending in your submission. I think we have time. We'll check out one more of these. How about this one? AQ Index. Award-winning free air quality app to reduce your exposure to toxic air pollution and high pollen levels around you. Very useful. Okay, so we have sort of your profile page with the different settings that you can adjust. Looks like this is like the main screen around like how good or poor the quality is. And then your like login screen here. I also like how, you have definitely a color palette that you're using as well, but like obviously good being green makes a lot of sense. I'm also curious though, like where blue is in the scale versus yellow. I'm kind of curious like what the differences in the colors mean. Oh, here we go, fair, poor. I guess I'm wondering if you have what the blue is, because you have red and like this scale makes, I feel like, a lot of sense to just what people would expect. And again, a little breakout of like the type and the colors that you use, which is nice. Sign up and onboarding.
It reminds me of like a weather app, just like how the hierarchy is.
Yeah.
I think like the items below the refresh button are a little hard to parse. I think if you wanted to devote the whole screen to just the good status, and then if you scroll, you'd get more of a deeper dive, would make sense, just because if someone wanted a high-level view of like, what's the current temperature right now? Like, I know it's not a weather app, but like comparing it to that like UX, you would start with that. And then if you wanted to get the hour-by-hour breakdown, or like the breakdown of each of the different, I almost said pollens, but like each of the different like allergens or the like what's in the air, then you would scroll down and get the deeper dive. So then you don't have to try to fit two important things in one screen, and you can just break it between two.
Yeah, and like I said, it might be a little bit small if you actually are looking at it, And the other thing I was curious about was like you have like this scale that kind of comes around. So I'm curious, I guess if it's less, it's probably good, but this one, the poor and like the fair kind of seem a similar sizing. So that I'd kind of be curious, like if poor, it needs to be like all the way around the circle or something. But little details. But I think like the presentation that you have is really nice. It's like very clear like what the app is for at the beginning, and you've picked like a variety of screens, which is nice as well. Yeah, Jose says, dig in the colors. Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm really glad we had a chance to look at some of the submissions that you guys had for the Daily Creative Challenge. Those will continue to go on. There are more creative challenges that you can participate in. And like you saw earlier, you can just go ahead and download that file, and it gives you some really good resources in the files themselves as well. So if you're just starting out, there are some really good resources. And it's great to just get some feedback and eyes from everybody on the stream as well. Yeah, we can head back over to what you're working on. I don't know if you want to recap a little bit. I know we're just getting into like the color
Panicking.
Fun.
Oh no, we don't have a lot of time left. Oh my God. Oh man.
It's fine.
Oh my God. You know, a website was never built in a day. That's what they say.
That is what they say. It's what they all say.
Yeah. God. Oh man. can.
Yeah, but you're just starting the issues page, which I guess it breaks a little bit from the other style of the other pages where you get to be a little bit more willy-nilly, I guess, with the coloring.
Yes, yes. So the logic behind this is that it's hard to see with this grid, but I need you grid, is that the color strip here would be the color of what the issue was or what it is. So just a way to kind of relate back to that. And I'm thinking for the hover state, the image from that issue could pop up, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I have some ideas in my little head. But I want to get some of these. This is like whack. This is so whack. But yeah, so I think like something with thumbnails that I always struggle with, because you know, you always want to do, it's tough because like when you're designing, you always want to design the happy path, but like in reality, when you're like designing a template system or even just a website in general, you have to account for like long titles and just like large things. So I'm gonna do a few of these thumbnails and kind of pressure test like how long the title could be, how long the title could be, and if it messes up the layout and how we could change it. So I'm just gonna change the color. I'm just gonna grab some lorem ipsum from over here since I have it.
It's definitely a common problem. Like you put in one title and then you realize, and again, for like even with languages, like I was saying before, if you have to do a different language, the type could be a lot longer or shorter.
Right. So I'm just gonna take this as a title, for example, and see if how I should set the type size to make it work. Okay. Is there a world where we could do, or is that too chaotic? Let me see. No, that's whack. We can't do that. That's not good. I was like,
had to try.
Yeah, because I was like, since this is a full width item, could I push it over and treat it as like another column? But it just looks weird with these being aligned, and it's nice to have it all kind of boop in its own space. So let's futz this down. Let's say this should be, all right.
Getting there?
Yeah. Is there a way, because this is a text box, is there a way to center the text within the text box? Do you know what I mean?
You mean centering?
No, like the line of copy to like be aligned, to push it to the center or push it to the bottom.
I don't know if I understand what you're saying.
That's okay.
Like,
I'll get there.
Okay.
It's like when, like right now on this text box, the text sits at the top. Is there a way to have the text sit?
I see what you're saying. Align it in the center.
Yeah.
That way. Let me take a look. Are they talking center align? In the
no, not like the, yeah, I got
you. I got you now.
I mean, 'cause I could do it.
I don't think right now there is that feature. Like I haven't, I know I haven't
Right, 'cause it'd
tried
be
to
over
use
there.
it before. It would be in your like contextual
Yeah.
panel on the side. Because right now you just have that you can like have it right align, center align,
Right.
and left align. But I know you're talking about now like from the center of here. So there's
Yeah.
spacing on the top and the bottom. But if that's a feature that you want, put that in user voice.
Please upvote.
So we know, yeah. And then, yeah, you're like, and that is my new goal, to have everyone upvote on it.
It's the long con.
That's what you really came here for, yeah.
Cool. So that's like how long title, a long thumbnail. And let's just push this down a little bit. All right, Cool. So this is how I imagine the thumbnail to be. Let's pop it in here. Oh no! 95's going with me. No, we need to turn that off. Okay, so let's just kind of buff out the page a little bit. Oh wait, I know what I can do. I know the tool I can use for this. Wait, I don't know if it would make sense. Repeat grid.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Oh my god, this is. I don't want that. Thank you. Oh wait, now it's overlapping. Is there a way I can change the color individually, or will it populate to all of them?
You can select and then start to change from the bottom. You're in the repeat grid right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can ungroup through your repeat grid now that you have all of them, and then
Okay.
go through and change the coloring.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I thought everything had to live in repeat grid, or else you would lose your privilege of repeat grid.
You can no longer.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. Can't do that anymore.
There's so much color. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's what, like,
Like
that's
the
when it's
color.
coming to life now. It was all a lead up to this. Yeah, and this is like really where you see like the color system like play well with each other, which is super easy to do. I'm forgetting any of the colors. Oh, we do black every now and then.
Yeah, Marissa said in the chat, like if you make the first one a component, you can change the others. So there's definitely like workarounds, but you'd have to make it a component if you want to change the
Okay.
coloring.
That's okay. I feel.
Thanks for the tip.
I feel powerful with what I just learned with this repeat grid. Just like the amount of time I've spent like just copying and pasting the same thing and then like tweaking things slightly just because there needs to be like a gallery or something is unbelievable.
Yeah, my repeat grid, there's components, but it depends what you're going to use them for.
All right. Okay, this page is pretty filled out. Now let's drop in a footer. That's not exactly 100 issues, but let's use our imaginations. Oh, so I told my mom I was on this stream, and my parents aren't the most tech savvy.
I was going to say, are they watching us right now?
So the thing was, my mom texted me afterwards, and she was like, "You did a really good job on the podcast." And I was like, okay, there's a lot to unpack with this. Number one, thank you for tuning in. But number two, did you just listen to it the whole time and not watch the video? Because then nothing would have made sense. So I didn't
well,
like,
you don't know that. I'd be
didn't
curious how
unpack it.
much they. Oh, you didn't know.
I just said thank you and carried on with my day. So I'm gonna have to like regroup with my own mother about how she consumed this content, because I really don't know what she meant by that.
Well, at least she listened.
Of course,
Tuning
very
in, that's
supportive.
very nice.
We love my mom.
If
but
you're
like,
listening now, thank you for listening.
oh my God, I was just like, wait,
That's
there's so
classic.
many, what? But it's amazing.
That's true. Lindsay in the chat says she probably just said the wrong thing. Maybe
Yeah,
she did watch.
she knows what
and
a
just
podcast is, because I talk about them a lot. But I don't think she knows what a live stream is.
Okay. I'm so curious now. When you find out, you have to let me know.
Yeah. I hope she like actually just listened the whole time and didn't actually like watch it. So.
I'm gonna change this font. She's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Describe the font or oh, supportive. Okay, so we're gonna make this. Oh. So we're gonna make that a component because I'm about to make a Hover state. Yeah, it's about to get buck wild in here. So what I want for the hover state is I want the image to appear in the hover state. Hey, can you get in there, my friend? Wait, how do I, oh. Where's the button I'm looking for? Edit, where's the, what? Can I not just drag it in, the image, into the component?
Bring it up a layer for a second. Is it locked? I don't know. I can't see.
What am I looking for? In-group component? Yeah, let's start from scratch. Okay, I want all of this in a group that will then become a component. Now one, and then I will add the hover and the default. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna make you, don't see. Okay, and then in the hover state, I'm going to have this appear, not that big, because that's crazy. I'm gonna have it appear along here. And then, do I want to inverse the colors? Is that interesting?
And then maybe once you finish this feature, you can do a little summary of kind of like everything that you've designed out on this page.
So let me just actually see if this works.
I'm curious.
If I just hover, oh, that's kind of fun. I don't like this though. Oh no, how did I do that? Okay, I think it's because the image is big and it creates a group.
State,
yeah. Oh, I know. I know what I did. Okay. Let's try that again.
There we go.
Nice. Nice. Look at that. Do-do-do-do.
Yes. You finished the page. You got a little bit of a hover state on it.
Got a hover state, and then just imagine all of them lighting up.
It's funky, but I like it.
It's funky. It's like a circus tent,
in a good way.
But wholesome.
Well, it's like, I mean, with issues too, it kind of reminds me of like stacking up like the sides of like the magazine or something like that, like having like a whole stack of them, which is nice. Well, I would love for you to just do like a little summary of like all the stuff that you kind of did, or just like zoom out and like we can see like you got through like your homepage, your issues, like all of these different states of
so we did the homepage, just simple guy over here with a description of what Desk Lunch is and the footer with the email sign up. And then 2 versions for mobile. I still don't know which one I like.
I'm sure you'll get more.
Yeah, we have the issues page showing all the colors and with the different filter and sort by. We have the about page, which is pretty standard and kind of falls under the same template as a issue detail page. And then we have the 2 issue detail pages with the titles, the tags, and the copy within them, and then an example of an issue detail page with the with an image-based article.
Awesome. Well, we were really lucky to have you on the stream.
Thank you for having me.
Time.
Yeah, this was fun.
Thank you all for joining, and stay tuned for all the rest of the exciting content on Adobe Live.
Bye.
Bye.